Over the past 5 years, more than 20,000 Chicago rideshare drivers were deactivated, suddenly unable to drive for the apps. Some of them tell us they were dropped unfairly, with no chance to appeal. Everyone loves a good crosstown rivalry, and tonight at Wintrust Arena, DePaul and Northwestern's men's basketball teams meet for a new chapter in their story that goes way back. They first met on February 21st, 1912, and 37 games have since been played between Chicago's most historic college basketball programs. DePaul leads the series 21-17 all time, but things have been rough for the Blue Demons in the past few decades, losing 7 of their last 8 battles against the Wildcats with an average deficit in the double digits. But as DePaul rebuilds with a new head coach, both programs think this rivalry is on its way back. Thanks, Jonah. It's been a head-scratching week in the legal realm of sport. We saw an expansion in a string of gambling charges against active athletes, and a 5-month search for a former NFL star concluded in an overseas arrest. Here's what you need to know. You know I locked down those deals, Catherine, but let's take a break from the online shopping for just a moment and celebrate the savings by discussing the most undervalued players in the NBA right now. Sounds a lot more fun than typing in your billing address for the 5th time today, right? Let's start right here in the Midwest. What makes a player better? Reps. And Timberwolves forward Jaden McDaniels has only missed 1 game since the 2023-24 season. The 25-year-old is entering his prime and is averaging career highs in points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, and shooting an astronomical 45.5% from deep. And there's a reason they call him Seatbelt. With his 7-foot wingspan, he is a lockdown defender and a sleeper contender for Defensive Player of the Year. Thanks, Sarah. The Winter Olympics are right around the corner, and Las Vegas is making headlines this week. I'd be willing to bet that curling wasn't on your bingo card for growing sports in Sin City, but even the desert is getting ready for the big games.
Andy's Jazz Club, the Green Mill, Kingston Mines, just a few of the dozens of historic live music venues in the city of Chicago. The city is particularly known for its jazz and blues scene, dating back to the 1940s. However, there is no permanent physical home that specifically documents the genre.
But there's one musician who's looking to preserve Chicago blues history, featuring exhibits all throughout the city over the past 30 years. And it all started right here in Bronzeville. This is Narcan, the nasal spray that has been used for over a decade to prevent opioid overdose deaths across the world. Just one of these puppies can save a life, but Narcan can cost more than $50 a kit. Well, here in Uptown, it's easier than ever to pick up a box for free, and community leaders hope the city of Chicago will follow as a whole. Eliana Molise is the Director of Housing and Community Services at the 46th Ward office in Uptown. Molise and Alderwoman Angela Clay are spearheading the effort the ward calls Narcan newsstands, publicly available containers of Narcan at different points in the neighborhood.
Alderman Clay always says it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So I think that's kind of the motto that we've adopted.
Molise says public access to Narcan does come with stigmas.
Even if you are not a drug user, though there's no shame or fault in that, this is an incredibly resource to help save someone's life.
Molise says the ward, which has distributed about 780 units of Narcan since the newsstands launched on August 27th, has already seen results. Near this Narcan newsstand at the Department of Family and Support Services, for example, the office holds free showers in the parking lot on Wednesdays for unhoused neighbors. When someone experienced an overdose in the shower, there was the newsstand.
And they credit the Narcan with saving this person's life. They don't know if he would have made it had the Narcan not been available.
Chicagoans can visit any of the 5 locations in Uptown and get a Narcan box for free, here at the Department of Family and Supportive Services or at the ward office,
at the Institute of Cultural Affairs building or the Cornerstone Community Shelter, or here at Nourishing Hope, all within the borders of the ward. Ryan Billeteri is a project administrator at the Chicago Department of Public Health and worked closely with Molise to bring this project to life.
The boxes have also been really helpful because we took a lot of time in designing them. Like, let's say, you overdose or you're overdosing or you're worried about overdosing, you have access right here to resources that you can call and immediately get access to.
Billeteri believes this effort can go citywide and says several wards have already reached out to learn more.
Once you see it in one community, then you also see other communities saying like, hey, why don't we have that? Which I think is the strength of having one place to kind of pilot it. And then you have other community leaders then push for the same things in their community. So I think it's been really great to start here because now we have other places who want the same thing.
It only takes one ward to form the kind of partnership with CDPH that the 46th has. The ward provides the distribution, CDPH provides the Narcan and funds, so don't be surprised if in June 2026 you see new Narcan newsstands on the street. And if you do, virtually all health organizations say to take one. CDC statistics show that in 2023, 43% of opioid overdose deaths occurred with a bystander present. It could be you that saves a life. Reporting from Uptown, I'm Ryan Hinske, Medill News Service.
I just felt wronged, like I was violated, and I just knew like this can't be legal. This can't be right.
Sarisa Karan, a rideshare driver from Lansing, Illinois, with a near-perfect rating and 7 years of driving experience, was suddenly deactivated from Uber last April after a passenger alleged she spit on them, which she denies.
It changed my life, turned my world upside down.
The single mother of 4 was also dropped from Lyft just 2 weeks later, despite the company acknowledging in a letter to Karan it had no information about the underlying incident. The dual deactivations were tied to a Chicago law, leading to what some call blacklisting. If a taxi driver is accused of a violation, the city holds a hearing to determine whether their chauffeur license should be revoked, but no clear-cut protection for rideshare drivers, who can be deactivated immediately after an accusation. That deactivation leads to the suspension of their chauffeur license, and in Karan's case, her livelihood, gone overnight.
My car was repossessed, almost lost the house. I just didn't have any income.
Last November, Karan filed a lawsuit against Uber, Lyft, and the city of Chicago over lost wages and an alleged lack of due process. Another driver dropped with little warning. J.C. Muhammad says he was unfairly deactivated from Uber after a passenger complained about his driving. He remembers that trip well.
I had a customer complain because she was trying to get to the airport and she wanted me to break traffic laws and do some extra legal things to get her there. And I, tried to get her there as fast as I could, but she was unhappy with that.
The day after, he received an email stating your account has been deactivated.
I think the problem with these companies who hire drivers is that they don't really give quite often any specific information about why they deactivate drivers.
Muhammad now volunteers with the People's Lobby, a nonprofit working to pass the proposed Fair Share ordinance that would establish a better appeals process for deactivated drivers and would also raise their wages.
We want there to be a process by which the customer feels like their concerns have been heard and the driver feels like their concerns have been heard. And right now, I don't think either group feels like their concerns are being heard.
Through the controversy, the show must go on. As week 1 of the season wraps up, we're going to show you 18 teams in action during a busy Sunday across the association. If you've been living under a rock, I'm going to need you to grab a pickaxe and dig yourself out of there, because Victor Wembanyama is here, 31 points, 14 rebounds in the win. It was a dramatic Sunday in the NFL. The Eagles and Bills lost their first games of the season, but nothing was more dramatic than the fourth quarter of the Titans and Cardinals thriller that taught us all what not to do in football. Right up the middle, Amari DiMercato, look at the speed. That's going to be a touchdown, or is it? Rule number 1 in football, don't fumble at the 1-yard line. Rule number 1 of showboating, don't do that. Another what not to do. Here comes Cam Ward, and looking to give the Titans a fighting chance. No, he picks it off. But no, what is this? The ball is still on the ground, pops into the end zone, touchdown. Titans, what in the world just happened? Not one, but 2 blunders by the Arizona Cardinals.